Hey, 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 it's your girl Nate coming to you with another episode of As Told by Nate, the podcast. Happy Thursday, everybody. I hope everyone's having a great day thus far. Came back to rock with y'all for another Thursday. I know last week, I believe it was on Tuesday. I just be flip flopping. Don't mind me. You'll always get the notifications prior to me doing my live. So stay in the know of when, where, and how it's about to go down. Today, I have a great show lined up for you guys, a very important conversation that needs to be had. And I think I did a really good job of picking people that I feel can speak to all sides of the spectrum. You know how sometimes I have people on here and they're like, well, Nate, you talking about this, and this, but this person can't speak to it or that person can't speak to it. But we're going to be talking about a conversation that involves all people. And I think I got a good variety coming on to kind of speak to both sides of the story, all the pieces of the puzzle. And if not, y'all are going to hold it down in the comment section. And if you feel like we're not representing something that is experienced to you or something that you have interpreted this conversation to be, drop us a line and I'll make sure that we definitely highlight your point. So let's get right into it because we got a lot to talk about tonight. So I want to go ahead and get it going. I'm going to first invite on my good friend. I'm gonna let her introduce herself, but y'all have seen her before on my show. Y'all probably have seen her before this on her wedding day. It went viral because my girl was gorgeous and the moment between her and her son was just super, super sweet. And so I'm gonna let her come on, introduce herself, and hey, thank you so much again for coming back to As Told by Nate, the podcast, for another conversation. Go ahead and let the people know who you are.
Hello, everyone. I am Summer Jean. I am Janae, and I are very close friends, and I'm just so happy to be here. Hi, everybody.
Yes. And so happy to have you back. This next guest that I'm going to bring on, another friend that is dear to my heart. She has definitely held it down in the comment section on the show or two. A lot of people have asked me about her just because of pictures that I have posted or videos. She is a part of my beloved clubhouse. And I've been trying to get her on the show for a minute, so I'm glad that we were finally able to make this happen. Let me go ahead and get her on screen. Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey.
All right, so you can go ahead and let the people know who you are.
So I am Alicia Ray Geary, and I'm a good friend of Nays, and I'm excited to be here.
So I'm definitely going to give you guys some time at the end to
and Summer too. Sorry.
to highlight anything that you guys have going on. You want people to know, if you want them to know how they can find you. I'm all about entrepreneurship and making sure that people get they plug in. So we'll definitely have some time at the end for you guys to do that. But before all of that, per usual, good day fashion, I'm gonna go ahead and ask each of you what we'll be toasting to tonight, and we'll take a little sippy sip. First, Summer, what are we toasting to this evening?
We're toasting to self-love and beautiful Black queens.
Ooh, yes, I will definitely drink to that. And Miss Ray, what are we drinking to tonight?
We are drinking to healing and self-love.
Yes, all of those. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So before we get into the conversation that is, I want to do the excuse me, come again questions, 4 random questions that you guys did not get to prepare for. Little icebreaker. We get the convo going. Since it's 2 of you, I'm gonna do 2 each. So take a little bit of the pressure off. Summer, you're up first.
Oh, all right.
Question number 1. What is an experience that you've had in the past that you never want to have again?
Ooh. Yeah, I think an experience that I've had in the past that I would never want to have again is I actually had a run-in with a group of males that did not treat me so kindly, and they were not very kind to me. And if people know me, I'm a very small person. I just want to put that out there. I'm really little, okay? I am not tall. I am not big. So I had a run in with a few men who didn't treat me kindly at a club one time in my life. Way, way, way long time ago. And I never want to experience that again. It was not something that was really nice. And they were very, very aggressive and very hands-on. And it was just not a good experience. So I just never want to do that again.
Yeah. I can definitely understand that. Never mind. Okay.
Better go, girl.
For another day.
I know. This ain't the show for that.
So question number 2, if you could build your perfect dream man, but only using features and characteristics of celebrities, what would that man look like?
Well, I'm already married to my dream man. However, if love you, babe, heart. But if I could build my dream man from celebrities, it would definitely be Michael B. Jordan's everything, just the whole thing. Michael B. Jordan's everything. I would say Denzel's swag mixed with a little bit of Usher in there. And I would have to say Chris Brown's like movements and the way he sings and things like that. Because I'm very musical, so I would think that I would gravitate to that a little bit.
Okay. I think I like that combo. It's a good little combo right there. All right.
Me too.
All right. So question number 3 goes to Ray.
I'm nervous.
I get another sip too.
What is one of your, just because I know you went to HBCU, one of your favorite HBCU homecoming memories?
Probably this last homecoming when we went to the day party.
Oh, yeah.
Girl, at that day party, look, everybody was lit, and it was a whole vibe. It just felt so good, and then we all were dressed really nice, but still for comfort.
Right.
And I just had an amazing time with y'all. It was so much fun. Yeah. It was that day party.
Okay. Liddy, that was very, very good time. That's a good top 10 memory for sure. And then question number 4. If someone was to get a hold of your computer or phone and they checked your browser history, what would be the most frequent search topic or something that you've searched? Like what would be the most frequent? Okay, never mind.
It's not anything sexual, but let's just say I'm going through a new experience, a new journey that a lot of my friends have not gone through. Well, just to be honest, I'm going through a divorce. So no one knows about these things. I'm like one of the first of my crew to even have that happen to them. So I Google a lot of stuff. So yeah, to be honest.
All right. Well, I appreciate your transparency. I do apologize. I did not mean to put you on the spot like that.
Girl.
Thinking when I said
I was gonna make something up, but let me just
I was gonna divert it and change but okay. All right.
Sorry.
And another sip.
Right. I'll drink to that. All right, so we're gonna get right into the conversation. Thank you, ladies, for participating in the Excuse Me Come Again segment, and then on to it. If I had to give tonight's conversation a title, I would call it Mirror, Mirror on the Wall. And most of us know what that is. You know, mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the beautiful this of them all? Who's the prettiest? Who's the fairest? Who's this? Who's that? It's an old childhood movie. And really what was looking back in that mirror was not very pretty, not very nice, not very nothing that the mirror was telling her. But that's not reality, right? That's a movie. So when you look in the mirror, who's answering that question is you. And it shouldn't be the influence of the outside world or anybody else for that matter. But the truth of the matter is that's not true either. So we're going to talk about it. This unrealistic, I like to say, standard of beauty that society has placed on women and the struggles that we as women have trying to just like find what that beauty looks like for us personally, be appealing to whatever, and then to fit this mold that, if we're being honest, not really many people fit that mold in real life anyway. So we're going to talk about it and we're going to get to it. So out the gate, let's start this combo with how your self-esteem was developed. Like, who set the standard of pretty in your lives when you were growing up? And we'll start with Ray.
So for me, the standard of pretty was probably my mom. My mom is very beautiful to me. She's always looked like my older sister, and she's just really, really pretty. And there was always some man following behind her trying to holler at her. And even like in middle school and high school, the people be like, Ray, your mama's so fine. Like, oh my God. You know, so I was just like, this is the standard, right. You know? And you know, I look like my mom. So I got that a lot. Like, oh, she's going to be a little heartbreaker. Oh my gosh, your daughter. You know, I heard that a lot growing up. So it did build, help to build my self-esteem. And my mom would tell me the same thing. She would pour into me too. But that's probably where it started. And then by high school, college, Beyonce. So she became a bad bitch. So I had to, she took it to the next level.
Okay. So then Sommer, following, how was your standard of beauty set? Like, who defined pretty for you?
So I would say I have to piggyback off of Ray. I think my mother definitely was a huge influence, and my sister with setting the standard for pretty. My mother also, I think she is absolutely gorgeous, one of the prettiest women I've ever seen. And same to my sister. Like my sister, especially in school when we were growing up, I mean, people flocked to her because of her, you know, her skin was flawless. She was like built in the right areas. She just had all of what society and what you would see on TV, all of the model-esque features. So I definitely aspire to grow up and kind of look like them and imitate them and emulate some of those things that I was seeing in our household. And I'd also say that the standard of pretty was, I watched a lot of TV when I was growing up too. So you would see like on TV, you would see like, for instance, Whitney Houston, super skinny, super teeny tiny, but she had this beautiful, gorgeous face. Like she was so beautiful to me. And I just like wanted to be just like her when I grew up. So I would say they set the mark for the standard of beauty. And then when I got to college, I think people started to pour into me a little bit more and started telling me how beautiful I was in college. So I was kind of like, what? I am for real? So, and now in adulthood, as a woman, and a mother, I get that from so many different people. And then the people that, you know, supported me and my son during that viral video, that's all I heard was, you look like a beautiful black Barbie doll. You were gorgeous on your wedding day. You were a beautiful woman. It was just so wonderful to have people pour into me. So I would say that's where the mark started, and then now where we are now.
Okay. Definitely looks like a Barbie doll. If I could piggyback back
so
off
beautiful.
Of that.
Oh my God.
Such a beautiful, yes. Such a beautiful bride. Such a beautiful.
I could not stop saying it. She was like,
right.
For real? Yes. Oh my God. fine, girl. You was fine.
Right.
Same to you, Sue. Same to you, body.
Oh my God.
So that is the now, but we're definitely going to take it back a step to growing up and what your understanding. Okay, so we talked about the standard of beauty and where that came from, what defined pretty. Now let's talk about your pretty and your understanding of what your beauty was like growing up, because and I'll kick us off. For me, I was always told as a little kid, like, oh, you're so cute. And people would pinch my cheeks. I've always been very like fluffy. We go call it fluffy. Very chubby girl. But I look exactly the same now as I did when I was a kid. So always had a very nice, pretty face. My smile, I always got compliments on. My eyes, I always got compliments on. But that was the extent of it. And same like you guys, my understanding and the standard of pretty was slim, tall, long limbs, long, pretty hair. And so I did not fit the mold. So my understanding of my pretty was, I'm cute, but is that pretty? Is that beautiful? You know, like looking at my mom was a very beautiful woman. My aunt, very beautiful woman. Same thing. Like I saw older women in my family that didn't look like me. So it made me question a little bit. Well, they looked like me, but just like I was chubby and they weren't. And so I'm cute. Am I always going to be cute? Like even when I get older, because they didn't call my older cousins cute who were slim. They were pretty. So to me, pretty meant skinny. And so I never thought I was ugly, but I battled for a long time with, am I beautiful? Am I pretty? Because I'm not skinny. So that was like the main thing about my understanding of pretty growing up. I want to then shift over to Summer and your understanding of what your pretty was when you were growing up.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Nate. I never knew that. So I would say my standard of my pretty was, it was a little bit confusing when I was growing up, because I would look in the mirror and I would think, wow, I'm really pretty, you know, because I looked a lot like my sister and my mother. But then I was a few shades darker than everyone else. So a lot of people, you know, when I was growing up, especially when I was a little girl, very little girl, I probably wasn't any more than like maybe 7 or 8. I had a lot of people coming to me, kids that were my age, coming to me and telling me, you know, you're not pretty. You're not as pretty as this person, because my skin was dark. And it confused me, because I was like, wow, but I'm not. I think I am, but I'm not pretty. So I would go to my mom and I would ask her, I'd be like, am I ugly, Mom? You know, she would definitely be like, no. She was like, no, girl, you are beautiful. I don't have no ugly kids. You know, she let me go. All my kids beautiful. But it was definitely confusing, because I looked in the mirror and I thought I was pretty at one point. But then when I would go to school and I would go to, especially when I got into middle school, I would go to school and people would tell me, you know, you're not as pretty as your sister. You're not as beautiful as your sister. And it was truly because I was dark skinned. And I didn't understand that, because what do you do with that, right? You like, what do you do with, you know, like I was always a smaller person, but what do you do with something that you legit can't change? Like what? So I was unsure of how I could navigate that and how I could attain this standard of beauty. But I didn't know how, because it was kind of like, this is my color, my skin color. So it was a very confusing time as I was growing up, for sure, because I wanted to be as beautiful as those in my family, but I didn't understand why I didn't achieve that same level of beauty, even though my features were very similar, just because of the color of my skin.
Right. Ray, speak to your understanding of your pretty growing up and what that looked like for you.
I also wanted to say that I know you guys mentioned tall, lean, but my mom, that was the standard for me. My mom is 5 feet. She's about Summer height, but she was slim thick. Like her nickname was Fats with a PH.
Yes.
Like,
I know that's right.
So And we're like hippie. And she
Yes.
had a big old booty, and just my mama was just like, yes, bitch. Okay. So I've never been into like the little slim model-esque look. That's always been the standard for me. The your natural thickness with thighs and all of that. But I also was a chubby little girl. And you don't have all of that when you're a child, and you just have your face. And I would get all the time, oh, you're so cute. But people would say she gonna be a heartbreaker growing up, but then I would also be fat as a child. So it was like always a seesaw. So there's and there were no full figured models or anything growing up until Takara on Top Model. That was literally the first full figured model I saw.
Yes.
And she wasn't even big, but
at all. But to me, at that time, she was big because everybody else was this big.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
But looking back at it, she was not big at all. And I did get a lot of adults, I will say, called me beautiful, but I got a lot of bullying from kids in elementary school around my pretty, so to say. Like I would, kids would be like, is that your real hair? Because I had like long pigtails, or how they would do, you have all these knockers and ponytails, and they would be all down here, and people be like, is that your real hair? And they would pull it, and I'm like going with it. Yeah. Okay. And then I developed this beauty mark in like 4th grade, and I would get, you think you all that because you got a beauty mark. And I was like, what's that? I don't even know what that is in the 4th grade. And that's how I figured out what it even was, by getting bullied. So it was like people building into me, pouring into me, and breaking me down at the same time in my childhood. It was really interesting to experience.
And it's so crazy that Sommer talked about being bullied for her dark skin. We're going to move kind of into the whole colorism piece with this, because someone in the comments just spoke to it as well. She got bullied for being dark skinned, but contrary to popular belief, I got bullied for being light skinned, and think exactly like Ray, thinking, oh, you think you better than us? Oh, yo, curly hair. Like people used to cut my mom. I will never forget this. I came home from the bus one day, and one of my pigtails was gone, and I did not know because someone had cut my ponytail off while I was riding the bus, and it was, oh, you think you better? And me too, Ray. I have a beauty mark on the side.
You do?
I used to hate it.
Like, y'all are so beautiful.
On my face, it's this big. What is this? And everybody was like, oh, so, but yes, so the opposite, like, oh, but it was the darker skin people that would tease me about being light skinned. Mm-hmm. But that goes back to that whole, I feel like that was something that was put in us. It's deeply rooted. And so the darker skinned people felt like they had to defend themselves against the lighter skinned people because people thought they was better than them. And then the lighter skinned people, the ones that ain't got no sense, did think they were better because they were lighter skinned. So that was their ammunition. So let's talk a little bit more about what that looks like in your individual households, though. So I'm sorry, I keep picking on you, but Sommer, we're gonna start with you.
So you were asking specifically about the standard of colorism in my household, like
yes, and like how that, not only just with the kids teasing you, but just how that set into your like psyche and growing up, and then how did your family either tear that down or reinforce that in just society in general?
Yeah. So I come from like a Caribbean household. So in the Caribbean culture, you are taught to be really strong, to have a very strong and thick skin. So when I would come home and kind of like inquire about, am I beautiful because of the color of my skin, da, 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 I would talk to my mom about it. And of course, and I don't know how familiar people are with the Caribbean culture, but in the Caribbean, light skin is, put on a different standard than dark skin. So it wasn't that it's not that they didn't make me feel beautiful and pour back into me. They did, absolutely. My mother, my aunts, all of them, because I looked just like them, they thought I was absolutely beautiful. But it was something that I kind of tried to navigate on my own in school. And it was a really tough time. I have to be completely honest. In middle school, I was also, not only did I have dark skin, but I had natural hair. I had natural hair before natural hair was a thing. So I had this afro, and kids didn't understand afro. So people would come and they would be like, picking on me because I had an afro. And then on top of that, I have dark skin. So it was just, I was very quote unquote Afrocentric. And at that time, people had perms and they're, even if the hair wasn't long, it didn't matter. They would call me bald headed because I had an afro. They would call me, they would talk about my skin complexion. So I really had to figure out how to still love myself. So I did grow a propensity to kind of dig myself out of those things. And my sister was like my biggest cheerleader. Like my sister and one of my cousins, I won't say her name, but you know who you are. My cousin and my sister, they had my back. They would basically, if anybody talked about me, anybody tried to bully me, they'd be like, "Oh, come see me first. If you want to mess with her, you got to come through me." And it did make me feel stronger because I didn't really have a voice back then. I didn't know how to kind of stand up for myself because at that time, I just felt like, well, maybe they're right. Maybe something is wrong with me. Maybe what do you do? That was the thing. I was like, what do I do about this though? So moving into my life now with my children, my son is my little chocolate drop. We don't use the terminology Black in our household. I call him my little chocolate drop. I call him chocolate because I think that has a sweeter undertone than just you Black, than stuff like that. He has actually, it's so crazy. He has actually come home and told me stories where kids are he's now in middle school and kids are coming to him and he's the darkest one in his class. And they're basically, and he's a little boy, and they're basically saying, "Oh, the light shuts off." And they're like, "Oh, you disappeared." And it's like, come on, children. So that's still very much prevalent now. But what I do with my sons is I just pour into them. I pour in them. I said, "Yes, you are chocolate. And guess what? You are very handsome. And look at those eyes and look at those cheekbones. And let me see your smile, And I pour into him and I kind of almost overcompensate because of what I went through when I grew up.
And I can remember kids being very mean to the dark-skinned kids when I was in school too. And those same little, "Oh, you disappear when the lights go off. All you do is your teeth." Or African Buddhist scratches. Y'all ever heard that? That's the stupidest insult.
Oh my God, those were fighting words.
That was. I was like, what?
Yeah, burnt black cookie. But you know what? When you think about it, back in the day, during slavery time, yes, we're gonna go there. While the masters were raping the slaves, and then the light-skinned babies were being born, those children were treated better than the field hands kids and the darker kids. So I can remember even when being little, people being like, "Oh, don't be outside too long, you're gonna get black." Like that was a bad thing, or like, "Oh, you getting dark," and it does put the impression in your head younger that Black is not beautiful, and the darker that you are is a bad thing. I've talked about this before. There was a study done with little children back in the day where they were shown a white baby doll, a light brown baby doll, and a dark baby doll. Which baby is good? It's always the white one, but if this one wasn't an option, what would you pick? The light skinned one. And it's been like, it's almost like even if they don't know or haven't even been exposed to like colorism, it's all around them. So they do know, even at 5 and 6 and 7 years old, that this is a thing.
Right.
Very, very sad. Ray, what was your experience like, or your understanding of colorism, or like just speak to the whole colorism piece a little bit?
So there was no real colorism in my home. We all about the same complexion. So and everyone in my family is kind of like a milky. We range from like a milky chocolate to my mama, probably the lightest one, and the lightest person in my entire family. So I mean, with her being the standard, she was yellow. That's what people, red bone, whatever they want to call it. And she had hazel eyes. And so I kind of was affected by colorism because I thought that she was beautiful, but not because she was light skinned.
Right.
But then I think I had more of an issue with hair texture. And surrounding hair. I've always had really long hair, and I had to sit and get it hot combed or sit and get it permed, or and I'm very tender-headed. And I just wished I had silky, beautiful hair. Like I didn't even want the white girl hair, because I didn't think that was the beautiful. I thought because it's very thin and it looked like it popped easy. And it get oily, but I thought that Hispanic people had really beautiful hair. Like they had the curls, and I love a popping curl, but it still was a very loose curl. And when our hair, when we needed a relaxer, it would be like, oh, your kitchen getting real rough back there. You need a relaxer, and then you have like hair and like baby fro. And so I was always and then there was family secrets and stuff. My granddaddy possibly was Dominican, and this and this and that. So I started developing this almost like a thing. It was a little bit of colorism in there, where it was like, oh, well, I'm gonna have a baby with a Spanish man, and then my baby's gonna have really pretty curly hair. But girl, once you start to love yourself and love your own hair. Like I had very beautiful hair. I had tons of kids jealous of my hair that I had that they didn't have. And I laughed not laughed, but I thought about how Sommer had run-ins with people coming at her about her skin. And I didn't really have people coming at me about my skin, because I'm not light skinned, but I ain't dark skinned. I'm caramel mocha latte. And so everyone was just kind of brown to me. I never really got into the skin thing. Mine was the hair thing. And I had other girls who I used to call them the bald heads. I'm sorry, Sommer. You ain't bald head.
I wasn't bald headed then either. I'm just, I no offense taken.
But they, girls with like, broken off hair, or it wasn't even like, that they had a fro. It just was damaged. It was damaged. It was damaged. And that, we could get into that. That's a whole conversation about processed hair and not knowing what to do to take care of our hair and maintain it. But a lot of those little girls had damaged hair because of the beauty standards of that day, those box perms and all of that stuff. And we didn't know what to do. And then, but I had kitchen hairstylists in my family who knew how to take care of hair and manage hair. And mine was thriving. And they would bully me over that. So it wasn't really like the color thing, other than the Spanish boys in middle school who was real fine. But because I don't discriminate based on color. White, Spanish, black, everyone is beautiful to me. And that's just how it's always been in my family. Like, never really gotten into the light skin versus dark skin, because everybody about the same complexion.
I think can I just say something real quick, Nate? I think it is so cool that I do have friends that are all different shades of chocolate, because what has really helped me to love myself as well is that my friends don't just, we don't really see, I don't know, I can't speak for y'all, but I feel that we don't really see the standards of colorism in our friend group. And I think it's a beautiful thing because I have had talks with Ray and with you, Janae, about colorism. So many talks about this, right? And we have another friend that she's not here, but she's also light skinned, and she has a mother that is dark skinned. And every time someone has said something negative about my skin complexion, even in college, my friends have jumped to defend me. And I think that is one of the dopest things I've ever experienced in my life. Because when you have friends that are like, that's not right, no. They are light skinned. They are of caramel macchiato. You got the brown sugar baby. You got the peanut butter cup. You got all of those different kinds of complexions, and to have to even real high yellow in our group still coming to the defense and saying this is not right. Don't do that. It's been a dope experience, and it has helped my self-esteem as well. I just had to jump in because Ray was talking about that, and it was like making me be like, yes, Ray, because you have always had my back. But
that makes me laugh because that brown sugar baby. So we went on a cruise, and on the cruise, you tan on vacation. And so I just kept saying, oh, girl, I'm about to be brown sugar baby. I'm about to be brown sugar the whole time. And I really did. I tanned it. I went from caramel mocha latte to brown sugar baby. Every hashtag was brown sugar baby. I honestly didn't really experience well, I've seen people, the jokes about, being dark skinned and disappearing and all that. I heard all of that in growing up against dark skinned people, but it really didn't affect me until I got to college, and my friends I would notice that y'all experiencing that kind of backlash or injustice, I would say. I don't know what else to call it, but we do speak up like, no, you're not.
And what you're not gonna do.
No, you're not. Like, there was a guy outside the club with another one. We were in a club, into a club in Atlanta, and we were walking in, and he basically was like picking us off based off of our skin complexion. Yeah. And the chocolate one was basically like, oh no, she don't need to come in here. And all of us at the same time was like, and what you not gonna do? And then we had to like hold her back because she was one of the main ones about to. But yeah, like I don't go for that. I don't like it.
Yeah, it was very insane. It was more of like the hair thing for me. I used to get attacked by dark skinned people as a kid because I was light skinned or because of my hair, but that never was a thing for me either, because the people in my family, they range. I have some people as light as being mistaken for white, and then as dark as like dark skin black. So when people would I've always been that person like, oh, you're not finna talk about, because that was me as a kid. You're not gonna talk about my cousin. You're not gonna talk about my brother, calling him black. So like that was never a thing. And my response to that was, with your bald head self. Like, hair then became a thing because I would never talk about them being dark skinned because that wasn't my understanding. But you ain't got no hair.
Right.
So that's what I'm gonna say. And your hair nappy. So I definitely was a culprit. Like your hair not good. You just mad because your hair not good.
Right.
And what is good hair? But that is also an unrealistic standard of beauty that was placed, exactly like Ray said. Sitting in my mama kitchen, mad because they are combing my hair, or it's just because the straight was better. The curls was not a good idea, and that was my understanding. The short hair wasn't a good idea. But that's how my hair comes out of my head.
Yeah.
Even then I didn't understand, but you just go along with what's taught to you. But now as an adult, and we're gonna get into like the self-love piece. I'm gonna let you say what you need to say though first, Ray, but the self-love piece, but then also how now all of those standards of beauty that we saw as a kid now are like the thing to be as an adult. But go ahead, Ray, what you gonna say?
Yeah.
I also wanted to, because I know we got into the hair thing, but I kind of want to bring it back to the weight thing. Weight for me was bigger than the hair thing. So I was called things like, when you know how you argue with your cousins, girl, sometimes they would just take it there, and I would be called like Miss Piggy, and just picked on for my weight, and then like family members would comment on how many times you go back for seconds, and then the grown-ups would be like, they would call you little mom, big mama, and and things like that. So those were like aggressive things and microaggressions that surrounding weight that really did affect me in my childhood. I forgot to mention that one.
Big facts. Big facts. Like my uncles used to call me Juicy. I can remember commenting on one of my aunts. I had to be like 10 or 11 years old and commenting on one of my, because everybody in my family was small. I think I was the biggest person. But I was. No, I had another little chubby cousin that was a boy, but he was hyped up about it because, oh, you're going to be a beast on the field. Like, because he was a boy, his weight was seen as a good thing. But mine was, I told my auntie, oh, I like your outfit. It was real cute little crop top, back in the day, how they used to dress. And my uncle said something along the lines of, yeah, you better lose that weight if you want to dress cute like your auntie. You can't be a little fat girl and wearing this. And so in my mind, that just kind of spoke to, well, I can't dress nice or wear nice, pretty things because I'm fat. Like, so what I'm supposed to, okay. But we're going to get into it because I want to talk about when you became and came into your beauty and started to own it and what that looked like for you. We're going to start with Ray with this one. So,
it's really been a journey. So I've always known that I was pretty for a big girl, because people literally say that to you.
That is not a fucking comment.
It's not at all.
For the people in the back, that is not a fucking compliment.
Being pretty for anything is not a compliment. Pretty for a big girl, pretty for a dark skinned girl, pretty for just like the person is pretty. Period. Can we just take the for the off, please?
Yeah.
Sorry. All right. Put the people in the back.
So that's always, especially when I did, start to gain weight. I think my weight really picked up in high school, and I noticed that I'm an emotional eater. And when I got to high school, girl, my heart was broke and all kinds of stuff, and I just picked up a lot of weight, and with birth control side effects and everything going on. And I know, like, by the time I got to fam, I remember, when you're moving in that weekend and you got to run to Walmart. Mm-hmm. I literally, the last time I heard that, I ran to Walmart with my mom and my aunt, and I heard there was another boy with his dad, and the dad told the boy, this was a grown man, he looked over to his son and said, oh, she's pretty for a big girl, to his son. And I heard it, and I'm like, I just kept it moving. And so along the way, I've always been called pretty, but for a big girl. So in my head, you're gonna be a bad bitch when you lose this weight. And I'm not even gonna lie, I am. I've lost the weight multiple times. I've had 4 major weight losses, throughout life, with initially losing the weight. And then I had 2 children, you got to lose the baby weight after that. And then, so I noticed that every time I lost weight, literally, not even just me, when I lost weight, people would be like, oh my God, Ray, you were pretty before, but bitch, you so fine. You are. It was just like the blanket was raised on everybody's. My friends have always called me beautiful, pretty, fed into me. But I swear to you, where I am smaller, I get more compliments. I'm beautiful, period. Not for a big girl, not this. And that's when I feel my best anyway, because like, just in general with your health, you feel best when you're most in shape and you have more energy and all of that. So I do feel better overall, but I ain't gonna lie, it is a boost to your self-esteem, and I started to really think I was beautiful when I lost weight. And then after my last baby, I got I got a little nip tuck,
Hello.
a little surgery, cut that C-section fupa off, and bitch, I'm fine. So nothing. You can't tell me nothing now. So, but that's always been an issue with me. My fupa being big, any imperfection surrounding my midsection or anything. I've breastfed 2 children, so I gotta. But yeah, I think that it's been a journey. It's been a journey. I'll just leave it there. Oh, Janae and Ebony, hey y'all, love y'all.
Right. Hey, hey to my auntie popped in. Hey to my homie.
Hey,
Deja. Hey y'all, we see y'all. So you've been fine though, Ray. Just put that out there.
I was about to say that same thing. I wasn't gonna interrupt you, but girl, okay.
All right.
You're fine. You've been
fine.
And then with my frame, it's always been, like I've always had a shape. So even when I would go to the doctor and get on the scale, they would be like, "Oh, honey, you don't look it." Like that matters.
Right.
Look at Janae. Janae said, "Been fine."
But okay, thank you, lady.
Yes.
Y'all.
So, okay, Summer. So now you speak to, when did you walk into your beautifulness or own, like, which I'm bad?
So I would have to say, about maybe 4 years ago, not even 3 years ago. I went, as you know, 'cause people who watch your show, they saw me on this here before. I was in an emotionally abusive relationship, and I'm very open about it. I'm not nervous or scared to talk about it. And that crippled my self-esteem, like thoroughly crippled my self-esteem. Nights where I was in bed just like sobbing and questioning if I was beautiful, because that person used my color of my skin to demean me in a way. Again, boost you up to break you down. That's what emotional abusers do. And one of the things he did toward the end was he got with a Hispanic woman and posted all over his page at how Black women, and I should have been done with Black women a long time ago, dark-skinned Black women are blah, and was praising this Hispanic woman. So of course I went back to childhood and was like, I'm not as beautiful as this person. And again, I went to my friends. I went to all of my friends and family members and went to them and said, she's prettier than me. I don't know why, This was recent. And everyone had to give me a reality check. Their face is so funny. Everyone had to give me a reality check because no, she's not prettier than you, Summer. What are you talking about? So I went through a lot of healing after that relationship. It's so funny. I spoke to a gentleman who he is my friend. I'm not even going to try to fake the funk. Y'all not going to think he's my friend when I tell y'all the story, but he is my friend. He's a good person. But he basically told me I would never be a 10 because society, he felt like I'm a 10, but I would never be a 10 to society. Yeah, he said it this way. I would never be a 10 to a society. She's like,
I'm done.
He basically told me I would never be a 10 because I'm dark skinned and society sees dark skinned women as they will never be 10s, just period. That's what he said to me. Now, mind you, I don't think, I don't know why he went there, but anyways, that's another story for another day. However, so I went through a whole period of like self-reflection and self-love, and I realized that I had to look in the mirror and see the things that I loved about myself. So I went to therapy. I did a full wardrobe change. I, like Ray, had a child, so my body went through changes. Even though y'all gonna tell me off when I talk about it, but my body went through changes too. And I but I did a whole wardrobe change. I decided to pour all of that love that I poured into this person and into the situation back into myself. And that's when I realized that can't nobody tell me nothing. I am a dime. I mean, top of the line, cute face, little waist, little big. I need hey. So now I look in the mirror and I love everything that everyone has told me that was not beautiful my whole life. I fell in love with it. And yes, today. And it's something about loving yourself and pouring back into yourself and telling you your Black is beautiful. Yes, sis, that you realize like, oh my gosh, like everything that I grew up on is a myth, to be completely honest. It's not reality. You look in the mirror and you see beauty, but you have to feel the beauty within yourself. So once I felt that within myself, no one could tell me otherwise. And there were men who tried after, trust and believe, and they got kicked to the curb.
Hello.
And then the hubby found me. Period.
Indeed. And that's what's up. And I so appreciate all the ladies over in the comments that are just kind of like pouring into us as we're having this conversation. I love to see women loving on other women because I feel like that's kind of where we change the dialogue of this standard of beauty and beautiful people conversation. Because I always think to myself, who even came up with what is beautiful? What is the standard? And it was some man sitting somewhere that wanted to appeal to the sexual desires of other men. And I feel like a lot of it was really unrealistic. And you have women, I will never forget, and I'm jumping around because it's going to all tie together. I want to talk about the surgery piece because Ray spoke to having gotten surgery done. I'm all here for you getting surgery if you feel like there are things about your body that you want to fix and things about your body that you want to change. But as a mental health provider, I always take it back to, are you changing those things because it's truly what you want? Or are you changing those things because you feel like that's what you need to do for body goals or moving into a space where people are accepting what is, right? I was working hard in the gym at one point, getting everything together, losing weight. Same thing, right? Everybody, when you get real slim, you're going to be pale. Like you, this and that, and then getting more attention as the weight started to come off and having all of these ideas of what body goals was supposed to be. And I realized that half the women that I was looking at for that inspiration, you can't have that as a body goal. Your body will never look like that because they went and had work done. Surgery. And so women who kind of go into this understanding of what beautiful is, like, why are we doing it? Is it because we truly don't feel good and we think we need to change this? Or is it something going on here that you really need to heal from that will then help you to love yourself more and become, beautiful in your own mind? So I just wanted to say that piece right there, because there's so many people that are getting surgery and thinking this is gonna fix it all, and then they still feel terrible because it was never about whatever it is that you changed. It was all up here. So for you, do you feel like your body was, I wanted to do this for me, or did you go into it with the mindset of, I need to fix this because it's been told to me that this is not right?
No, for me, I've known since my first weight loss. I think it was like my senior year of college. When you have major weight loss where you lose 40 plus 50, I think the most I've lost is 60 pounds, things will sag. Like if the skin does not retract, and especially skin does vary based on the person, but in my family, my skin is very fine and it doesn't do great with retraction. I've had stretch marks since I think my earliest memory of stretch marks was in like kindergarten or first grade. I remember looking around at the other girls and I was bigger in my bathing suit at swim training. We got like swim lessons with the Parks and Rec, and I had stretch marks on my little thighs. So I've always had, I've always been big. So when I lost that weight, the skin just did not retract like it needed to. Like I did the gym. We was in the gym together right before, leading up to my wedding. We were in boot camp, faithfully. And even in my wedding dress, it was very well camouflaged, but I had a fupa. Like I've lost weight. I've had children. The body, and Summer mentioned it. Yes, the body does not sit like it used to before you had a baby.
At
Like,
all.
especially if you have a
Try.
C-section, because they cut through multiple layers of skin, muscle, organs, everything. And then that section it's like a little, so it doesn't sit right. And then even your booty and everything, it changes over time. And so I knew back then that was what was going to happen after I was done having children. Now I will say I've always liked a little booty, and a big booty ain't never hurt nobody. So and even with my friends, I even both of y'all, I've commented like, "Damn, your booty looking real nice."
Yeah,
they
booty.
Damn. Yeah, and y'all always commented on my booty that it was nice too, but I'm really hippie, so I just wanted a little toot in the boot, It's not, and I agree. I do not like overdone BBLs or any of that crazy looking stuff. I love natural bodies. I really do appreciate natural bodies. And so when I went into plastic surgery, I was thinking, I just want the body that I was supposed to have before I gained all that weight, before I had babies. So I really just wanted to restore what I would have had I been a educated person on nutrition throughout my life, had I been active like I should have been, had I, maintained the body that I was given by God. And I was given this body by God. Girl, my shape is nice, but I had all these things happen that altered my shape. So I wanted to cut the extra skin off. And then, now I will say that God did not give me a big onion booty like my mom. He gave me a little teardrop. So I did add a little extra tear on top of the drop. But I do not agree with that going overboard. I love very natural results when it comes to surgery.
And I will say this, I just want to jump in real quick to defend that as well. Just not to defend, but just like to add on to what Ray was saying. Her and I did have talks, and she also, not to speak for you, Ray, but you just didn't mention
it a lot, so
But we talked about it a lot, and that was one of my questions as well, Johnny. I was kind of like, okay, we want to make sure that, okay, you're doing this, but are you getting this up here right too? And I can honestly say it was a dual effort. So I think that I would say I'm also interested in surgery for other reasons. People don't judge me, but I have my own reasons. I had a baby. Okay, babe, your body don't go back. Okay. So I will say this though, when I asked her that, she put in so much work to pour into herself mentally just as much as she did physically. So I would encourage, just like you said, Janae, if anyone is interested in surgery, please don't forget that mental health piece, because you can get all the surgery in the world, but you can still look in the mirror and see exactly what you saw before you got the surgery. You can still see your arms might not be, where you want them to be, or your stomach might be, and continue to exercise, because you will. I saw someone in the comments say something about it. You will get all of your weight back if you do not work out. So get this up here, work out your mind, and also work out your body. I haven't had surgery, so I'm sorry I spoke for you, Ray, but that was something.
You know what? I'm doing a bad job at keeping up with the comments, but I do agree. You can wait. Surgery, lipo, all of that is not a fix all,
right,
end all be all for weight loss. Like anytime that I've lost weight, it was the hard way: sweat, blood, tears, crying, meltdowns, nutrition, shakes, all of the above, salads that I didn't want to eat, pretending like it was something that I didn't want to eat, I put in the work. I put in the work. After I lost after I had my baby, I lost, I want to say about 50 pounds. It took me I had to lose that baby weight. And then when I got to the desired weight or close to the desired weight, that's when I went ahead and cut off the extra skin and got a new belly button, got a little booty.
Yada.
Because even when you have a baby, your booty, it sags a little bit. Like everything moves.
sags, man.
It's crazy. Like women are amazing. We do so much to bring life into this world. We sacrifice so much.
It's trauma.
Yeah.
It's legit trauma to your body.
Near-death experience.
Yeah, it is. It's literally a battleground that you might not come out of alive.
Yeah.
And if you do live, your body gonna be skinned.
And it's not. Just prepare for your nipples to be pointing to the floor, okay? But your baby gonna be fed really, really well.
Real beautiful.
But it's gonna be hang low. I mean, you're gonna be sad.
There's nothing wrong with putting it back where it should have gone. Just don't overdo it. That's my philosophy.
And get this uphill right.
Right.
Sorry.
And protect your investment afterwards.
Right. All of that.
Because you put all that time, money, and you have to mentally prepare yourself for surgery. So all of that, you have to protect it afterwards. You went through all of that.
So it needs to be a decision made for you and not because somebody told you that you need to.
Amen.
So yes, great. So I definitely appreciate you guys coming through and talking to this conversation. We could talk about this all day and for much, much longer because we do have these conversations often. Is there any last pieces that you guys want to add to the people where they can find you? If you want to talk about anything that you have going on that you want to invite the folks to support you in, this is the time to do so. Go ahead and do your shameless plug.
I would like to plug my son's art page. For those who supported and shared our video, please pour into my son. He is a wonderful artist. He does anime-esque characters. He's been drawing since he was 2 years old. He is a truly gifted child. So please support his art page on Instagram. It is at KHI_KREATEZ, Kai_creates on IG. Please go support my baby. If you follow me already at Nuffsaid427, please also go to his page. He's all over my page. So please support him. He is amazing. Thank you.
Yes. Ray, anything?
So my Instagram is RayRay4911. And I'm also starting a travel vlog slash travel planning business. So I just started the Instagram for that. It's on my page. If you go to RayRay4911, you'll see it's Sweet Liberty Travels. So go ahead and follow that. I'm getting it up and running, and more to come on that.
Yes. And if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button on my YouTube channel so you can lock in with me on every time I go live and have a conversation on That Soul by Nate, as well as Barnes & Nobles. Go ahead and get the book Dreamer. It is there. Let me know how you love it because I know you will. And if you're in the Sarasota, Bradenton, Palmetto, Tampa, Orlando, St. Pete area, hit me up and ask me how you could come get this body together. I'm doing a dance class coming up in a couple of weeks. Yes, twerking counts. Come through, have a good time. It will be a very empowering day with other like-minded women. We're not going to just dance and work out and have fun, but we're going to, exactly like you guys have done here today, encourage one another and pour into one another, have a good time together, network a little bit, and it's going to be a vibe. So hit me up and ask me how to be a part of that if you're in the area. And of course, follow me on IG at INay04. And yeah, that's that. It's been another wonderful conversation on As Told by Nate, the podcast. Thank you again to Sommer and Ray for coming through, being very transparent and speaking to your experience as Black women, just women in general, mothers and all those things. Next time, same place. As Told by Native podcast. Let's talk about it.
Bye.